Tramming is the process of squaring a milling machine spindle to the table. If your mill is not properly trimmed, it is impossible to machine features that are square to each other.
The ability to machine flat surfaces is also affected if your mill is not trimmed.
The face of a surface may look flat, but it's not.
The machined surfaces may look square, but they're not.
One of the features of the universal milling machine is the ability to set the mill head at an angle to make angular cuts. However, most of the work you will do with the mill will be square. Because of tight tolerances you must hold, the squareness of the machine must be precise.
Tramming the head is the process of squaring the mill head to its table precisely. The mill should be trimmed any time you start a new job or move the head of the machine. It should also be performed after taking extreme heavy cuts or after breaking a cutter. In order to learn how to tram the machine, we need to understand two terms, pitch and yaw.
Yaw is the side-to-side tilt of the head in relation to the table of the machine. The mill has 4 bolts on the front of the head that lock it in place. On the back of the head there is a hex head screw for adjusting the yaw. Pitch is the front to back tilt of the head in relation to the table of the machine. The mill has 3 bolts on the ram that lock the head in place. On the top of the ram there is a hex head screw for adjusting the pitch. You will notice there are protractor gauges at the front of the ram and the back of the mill head. They are used to set the machine to a rough square and are by no means precise.
The first step in trimming the mill is to set both the pitch and yaw protractors to 0. Using a 3/4 combination wrench, loosen the 4 lock bolts on the front of the mill. Break the bolt loose, then screw the bolt back in just until it makes contact with the head. That way, the head will be free to move, but it will not sag away from its mountings. With each of the bolts loose, use a wrench to turn the yaw adjusting screw. Watch the yaw protractor and turn the screw until the pointer lines up with 0. If the pointer moves away from 0, turn the screw the other way. Next, use the wrench to loosen the 3 lock bolts on the ram. Again, break the bolt loose, then screw it in until you feel the first bit of resistance. Place the wrench on the adjusting bolt on top of the ram. Watch the pitch protractor and turn the adjusting screw. Adjust until the gauge reads 0. With both the protractor gauges now reading 0, the rough square of the machine is set, and you are ready to move on to the precision portion of trimming the mill.
Now it's time to set the yaw precisely. First, you will need to install a dial indicator in the spindle of the machine. You can use a collet or a drill chuck or a tool holder to hold the indicator. Have the indicator hang out as far as possible. The further away the indicator is from the spindle, the greater the accuracy that can be achieved.
After installing the indicator, put the machine in neutral so the spindle can be turned freely. Check the sweep of the indicator. Move the table so the indicator will contact the table in 2 points, front and back, and 2 points, side to side. It may be helpful to draw a target or crosshairs using a marker or pencil under the center of the spindle out to the 4 points, front, back, left, and right side where the indicator will contact the table.
We are now ready to set the yaw, but first you need to understand the term TIR. TIR stands for total indicator runout. It is the total amount the needle of the indicator moves. It is a relative measurement. When the job is complete, the indicator will have a TIR of less than 1,000th of an inch.
Bring the indicator down to touch the table and sweep it from left to right. Make sure you obtain a reading at both points before continuing. Make sure the table and quill are locked. Now move the dial on the indicator so it reads 0. Sweep the indicator to the other side and read the amount of travel on the indicator. On the indicator shown, the travel is about 20 thousandths of an inch. We will want to move the head so we split the indicator travel in half. So turn the yaw adjusting screw on the back of the head while watching the indicator. Turn the screw until the indicator reaches half of our initial reading, in this case 10 thousandths of an inch.
Sweep the indicator back to our starting position and set the indicator back to 0 and sweep to the other side. Is the TIR less than 1,000th of an inch? If not, repeat the process. Well done! You're now ready to set the pitch of the machine.
Once you have succeeded in getting a TIR of less than 1,000th of an inch, you will want to snug the yaw locking bolts. This means tight but not real tight just yet. Tighten the bolts in a star pattern so you do not warp the mill housing on its mountings. As you tighten the lock bolts, watch the indicator. If the needle starts to move, stop tightening that bolt and move on to the next bolt.
To set the pitch of the machine, first rotate the spindle so the indicator points toward the back of the machine. Next, set the dial so it reads 0. Now sweep the indicator to the forward position. The process to set the pitch is a little more complex than setting the yaw because the pivot point is not centered on the spindle. Notice how much the indicator needle travels from the front to the back. You will want to adjust the pitch so the indicator needle moves to 0. Use a wrench to turn the pitch adjusting screw on the ram. Turn the screw so the indicator reads 0. Now, sweep the indicator back to the rear of the machine. It probably will not read 0 the first or second time, so use the crank on the knee to raise or lower the table until you zero the indicator. Then sweep the indicator to the front and adjust the pitch until the needle sits on 0 again. This process may need to be repeated several times, but each time it is repeated, the indicator runout should be less than the time before. Repeat the process until the total indicator runout is less than the 1,000th of an inch. When the indicator reads 0 in both the front and back positions, sweep it in a complete circle and check to make sure the total indicator runout is less than 1,000th in all positions. Now, lock the pitch by tightening the pitch lock bolt. Tighten each bolt a little at a time. All the while, continue to check the indicator. If the needle starts to move at any time while tightening the bolts, stop and move on to the next. Continue tightening the bolts until all 3 bolts are tight. Next, check the yaw of the machine. It may need a fine adjustment at this point to bring it into specs. If the total indicator runout is less than 1,000, tighten the 4 yaw lock bolts on the front of the mill. Tighten each bolt a little at a time. Tighten them in a star pattern. Keep an eye on the indicator as you tighten the bolts. As with before, if the indicator starts to move, stop tightening that bolt and move to the next one. Continue until all bolts are tight.
Now you are done. So let's review. The first step is to set the rough square of the machine by setting both the pitch and yaw protractor to 0.
Next, install an indicator in the spindle. Sweep the indicator from one side to the other. Set the yaw by splitting the total indicator runout of the indicator.
To set the pitch, sweep the indicator from back to front. In the back position, set the indicator to 0 and sweep to the front. In the front position, adjust the pitch so the indicator needle moves to 0. Repeat the process until the TIR is less than 1,000th of an inch. Tighten all lock bolts and check your work.